Yo, hey everybody, welcome back. So I got a kind of a weird project for today, kind of something different. I've had this idea for a while, but it's basically going to be like a urban dropper post here on my commuter bike, gravel bike or whatever. So should have my parts and stuff in a little later today, but put a lot of thought into it because it's going to be kind of using my left SRAM shifter. I'm going to convert that thing into basically a dropper lever. So anyway, let's just check out the parts I got and we'll get right into it. So this is the seat post that I ended up going with. It's the KS E-30i, and it's a 27.2 millimeter diameter seat post, which is what I had to get to fit my little home-built commuter rainy day bike. And drop-wise, this one's 100 millimeters, which really that's the maximum amount of drop that I'm going to be able to have to work with, which with my frame, just based off the seat post that I have currently. So this is the little dropper lever, which will not be used on this bike. We're going to be using my Force 22 left-hand shifter that's been soon to be disabled. This bike comes with, or the kit here comes with the cable. It's basically like a shift cable, and we're going to use only part of that. Here's the seat post itself, and my initial impressions were the quality on it seems pretty decent. You know, especially for the money. This thing retails for about $200. But yeah, it seemed like it would definitely fit the bill of what we were going to be trying to accomplish. This is a little coupler that's an additional piece that I got to go with it. I'll get more into this in just a bit as far as why I'm going to be using this piece. But anyway, there's probably some folks out there that are wondering why you would want to put a dropper post on a road bike or a gravel or commuter, whatever. And I'd been thinking about it for a while. I talked to a buddy of mine. He said he put one on his wife's commuter bike, just so it's easier at stoplights. Typically what I'll do at a stoplight is I'll step off, and then I usually just find myself sitting on the top tube there. But, otherwise, if I'm sitting like that, I'm just tippy-toeing, tearing up my shoes. Not a great track stander. I mean, I can kind of do it, but, it seems like if you could just lower your seat to a normal height, it'd be a lot easier, especially sometimes you got to hop up curbs or whatever, just be a lot easier. I also, on my commute in, I have the option of about 5 miles of pretty sweet gravel or single track trails, and there's some bits in them that are got a few little drop-offs and things that are, you kind of got to get back on the seat. That's difficult with the standard height seat post there. So that's another reason. And then I kind of had this idea. A lot of the gravel guys and stuff, they'll put the clip-on aero bars, and I know when you're really getting on it and you're kind of slid to the front nose of your saddle on the rivet or whatever, sometimes it seemed like it would be better if that was maybe a 1/4 inch or 3/8 higher than your normal saddle height. So that was something that an idea that crept into my head. Another reason was I've crashed quite a few times on ice. There's a lot of the bridges here that get really icy. And actually next week there's supposed to be some more snow. So these are the first things that ice up. So I don't know. Thought it'd be definitely something worthy of just trying. Couldn't really find enough negatives to not try it, so yeah. Kind of the gist of this video is how to adapt it to the SRAM Force. So I recently upgraded this bike to a 1x system. So basically we're just going to strip this down and modify the lever slightly. You will have to pull the lever off the bike. So got the brake cable out and everything, and I had already previously removed the shift cable. I just had that little piece of it that I'd cut off the end of the tape. So anyway, there's 4 screws. The furthest facing screw there, that position, is a shorter screw, so you want to kind of just keep that in mind when you reassemble. And initially I have a video where I rebuild one of these. It's an older for kind of the first generation double tap shifter. And so initially I thought I was going to have to remove the main shifting guts or whatever to access the little piece we need to remove. So in order to do that, you will basically back this nut off a few turns to where you can push. There's a little pin there in the center that you basically push out through the back, and then that allows you to basically remove the shift mechanism. But you know, come to find out here in just a second, I didn't have to do any of that. So here I'm backing it out. This is just whatever, not something you're not going to have to deal with, but in case you do want to rebuild one of these, you can watch my video. But that's the piece we're going to remove there, and there's basically that little portion there that it kind of locks the little ratchet wheel in place when you flip it up. But I noticed if you flip your lever all the way up, it'll give you access to that. There's a little C-clip in there that you're going to pop off. That's it right there. So once you pop that little C-clip off, here I got it off, and then we're just going to push that through, and then there's that little silver pin there, and you'll just get some needle nose pliers or something, and it's not super tight, but it's kind of difficult to grab with your fingers at this point. So we're just going to pull that little pin out, and then from there, the rest of the kind of the holding mechanism there that clicks it up into gear, you'll pull that right on out of there. It's pretty simple. You know, so here now your lever is effectively does the same thing as a dropper post lever. So pretty easy little conversion. I have my old first generation 10-speed shifter. I'll show a little demo on that one. Essentially slightly different, but basically the exact same thing. Put short screw there at the front, and then we're just basically reassembling this shifter here. Cleaned it up a little as it was looking pretty grungy in there. So this is the first generation. If anybody's got one of these, and you know, honestly, it's pretty much the identical process. If you just shift your lever all the way back, you got easy access just to pull that little pin, the little clip out, and then the pin. I've got another shifter body that doesn't have the main shift mechanism there, but it still has that piece, so you can kind of get a pretty good idea of exactly what to do. There's the little pin on the back side, but you basically just take a little pick. You'll want to align it just so you know, in a certain where that the opening of the C-clip's facing inwards. You know, then from there you can just pop that thing right off with the little picker or a little screwdriver or something. It's pretty simple, and then just push it right on through. And that's really all there is to it to get the shifter to work there. So yeah, so from there I'm going to get the go ahead and put the shifter and everything back on, reconnect my brake cable and all that. I did do a little video. I'll put a link to that as well, as far as how to replace cables in these SRAM shifter brake levers. So it's pretty easy as well, but I've got a little more of an in-depth video on that if you want to get a little closer look on how to put new cables on one of these, shift and brake. But anyway, we've got getting our cable all lubed back up there and set back in position. I'll hook the brakes back up, and then we'll move on to hook up the dropper cable. And the main thing I wanted to do, I wanted to incorporate, I have a cable stop already on the frame that I wasn't using, and so I kind of thought it through a few times and wondering how I was gonna, you know, I didn't necessarily want to basically tape a long full length of housing. So I was like, well, if I use that stop, you know, but then how could I get it to work with, you know, how am I going to hook it up to the post and then slide it down into the frame? So then that's kind of when I came up with the idea of the little cable coupler thing there that'll hook the two inner wires together. So basically we're just start this off. We'll kind of just mock this up and get our dropper cable in here, which is essentially same thing as a shift cable. Most all the non-hydraulic dropper cables it's basically just a standard run-of-the-mill shift cable. So we'll just hook that up like we would normally do a typical shift cable, And then once I get this threaded through, I'll just leave the wire kind of hanging, and we'll move on to that, you know, where we're going to cut it and such once we get the seat post, dropper post cable hooked up and installed, and then we'll have a better idea of where we're going to put that. So I kind of held up the seat post just to make sure it was going to work and everything, and it's almost slightly longer than where I had my seat there, but that kind of goes back to that, you know, thinking if I'd run it maybe slightly higher. It wasn't it was probably 1/8 of an inch higher, so kind of probably doesn't matter one way or another. But you know, if I wanted to raise it up maybe another 1/4, 3/8 of an inch, you know, to kind of try that theory, then I can do that as well. But I'm just basically measuring my seat height and then the tip of the saddle nose to the middle of my handlebars there, so I can basically get it back in the same position. So here I'm just kind of mocking up where the seat post is going to basically sit, and then looking where the, you know, basically what I'm going to do is run the inner cable under my standard shift cable guide that's already under the frame, and then I'm going to drill a small hole about 4 inches or so up, and I just wanted to get a kind of good line of sight of where that cable would maybe naturally intersect if you just draw a invisible line through the frame, and where it would connect to the seat post to the coming off the little cable guide there. So this was about the best looking place I could come up with, so went ahead and just drilled this small little hole here. I started out with a really small bit, and then I think I went up to maybe an 1/8 inch, just big enough. It's basically just big enough to get one of those little piece of Teflon liner tubes through there, little guide tube. So this is the next biggest. I think this is the 1/8 inch bit, and I'm kind of drilling upwards at an angle there. And then on top of that, I took one of my I actually took one of the picks and tried to kind of push down, you know, insert it and then push down, and then here I'm just taking the rough burrs off. So I want that cable to have the smoothest transition to go through that little hole there. So just trying to smooth it out here. This is one of the little files I got from Harbor Freight a while back, a little 10 or 12 pack of them for like $4. So it was worth it right there. Anyways, that was the first time I got to use them. So anyway, I'm doing something here that I typically never advise, but sometimes you have to do it, you know. But I've got the frame clamped into the top tube there. Normally when I'm working on a dropper post, I'll just set the bike on the ground. But anyway, this is our little that's the male end that's going to go into the cable coupler there. So just slid that over the cable first there, and then we're just going to route the cable straight through the little cable guide there. And then I've got my little piece of Teflon liner there that I kind of just mocked up. I wanted it to basically, the tip of that thing to go in between the little the housing stop that you would normally have your cable housing that butts up to the end of the dropper post there. So I wanted it to just pierce those two little the stop there, the two arms of the stop, and then have enough room to come out through the hole in the frame there, and then under into the cable guide. So I cut it, you know, just mocked it up, cut it that length. It's no real 100% right or wrong on that. I just wanted it to go, you know, hit those two points basically. So basically pull the cable out, and I just kind of at this point made it towards, you know, when I put this NARP on the male end of the little coupler was probably about, I don't know, 6 inches in front of the cable guide, and that's just so once we push the post down in there and pull on the cable, it would end up just a few inches behind my cable stop there at the front of the frame there by the head tube. So anyway, that's what that little thing looks like. You got a 3 mil that's fixed, and then the little nut that you cinch down on the little bolt that you cinch down on the cable is a 2 mil. So you'll need a 3 mil and a 2 mil Allen wrench or hex key to cinch that down. And once I got it in place there, I just clipped off the excess. You know, so from here we're ready to hook it up to our seat post. You know, kind of off camera. I mean, sorry my hand's blocking the vision, but you'll tilt it back 90 degrees, slip it in, and then rotate it back down, and then you're locked and loaded, I guess, there. So kind of off camera, I slipped the little Teflon tube. It was a little pretty tight fit, but up into those two, like I say, the cable stop jaws there. So from here it's just a matter of kind of pulling the cable down and working the seat post down, which it's going to go all the way, basically all the way to the collar, and that's kind of got lucky in that's right at about my exact seat height there. Maybe an eighth of an inch or a millimeter or two higher than it was originally, but that's enough. That's enough wiggle room for me. So anyway, that's our female end here that we got to hook up. So basically what I did was just slid it on and just marked it with a Sharpie there, as far as on the end piece there where it was going to be resting. So you can see we wanted to have about maybe 6 millimeters or so of engagements, 8 millimeters, whatever, about the length of that little fixing the pinch bolt in there. So basically just slid that in now and cinched down the little anchor bolt there, or the grub screw or whatever. And so let's get that cinched down. That's securely in place, and now we can just basically make it a one-piece cable. This will make it nice later if I want to basically switch back to a regular post for some reason or whatever. It's nothing really, no major modifications other than a really small little hole in the back side of the frame there that can always be re-welded, or just a plug or a piece of tape over it. So not a huge deal. So I kind of stressed the cable, stretched it a little bit, so it's a little baggy now, but we got our little barrel adjuster there, so I'm going to cinch that up to right where we want it. If you don't have a barrel adjuster stop on your frame and you want to do the same similar concept, you'd want to run a inline adjuster. So that's basically what it looks like there once it's all hooked up, and giving her a nice first test run, and yeah, works just like I wanted it to. Alright, so yeah, overall it seems pretty decent. Doesn't have any really side play like some of the other seat posts, so I don't know, we'll give it a go, see how it holds up long term. It's a little heavy, but I don't know, I kind of like it. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time around. So the video's gotten a little long, so what I'm going to do at this point is try it out for a couple weeks, a month or so, and then I'll make a follow-up video on what my thoughts are on it, if it's something worth doing, and all of that stuff. So anyway, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.